When you're sitting on top of the Yukon's largest gold mining operation, every single decision carries the weight of millions. But what happens when you're forced to make a choice that could either secure your legacy or destroy everything you've built in one catastrophic moment? Welcome back, gold rush enthusiasts. I'm diving deep into what might be the most intense episode of Season 16 yet. Parker Schnabel, the young mining mogul who's been chasing gold since he was a teenager, is about to face a decision that will test every ounce of his mining instinct, business acumen, and raw courage. And trust me, what unfolds in Episode 10 is something we've never seen before in 15 years of gold rush history. Stick around, because the stakes have never been higher. The pressure has never been more intense. And Parker's about to do something that will leave even the most seasoned miners questioning whether he's a genius or gambling away his entire future. To understand just how monumental this decision is, we need to talk about where Parker stands this season. This isn't the young hothead who took over his grandfather's operation anymore. This is a 31-year-old mining magnate who controls a $15 million operation at Dominion Creek, runs 4 separate wash plants simultaneously, and commands a fleet of over 60 machines across multiple mining sites. The numbers are staggering. With gold prices soaring to an unprecedented $3,800 per ounce in late 2025, Parker isn't just mining for gold, he's mining for a potential $160 million payday. That's right, $160 million. The kind of money that could set up generations of his family. But here's the brutal reality of the gold mining business. Bigger rewards mean bigger risks. And Parker's about to take a risk that would make most mine owners break out in a cold sweat. Season 16 started with Parker making bold moves. He sunk millions into his Dominion Creek claim, betting everything on virgin ground that hasn't been touched in over a century. He poached crew members from Kevin Beats. He pushed his foreman Tyson Lee to make the tough calls that leadership demands. And he even ordered the firing of the weakest link on his crew. Parker has been operating like a man possessed, driven by an obsessive need to prove that his massive gamble will pay off. But now, 6 weeks into the season, Parker faces a problem that money can't solve and machines can't fix. Mother Nature is closing in, and time is running out. Parker's been running a parallel operation at Sulphur Creek, a secondary site that's been producing solid gold all season. The ground at Sulphur Creek is rich, proven, and reliable. It's the kind of claim that miners dream about: consistent pay dirt that keeps the gold flowing week after week. Parker's wash plants, Lucifer and Bob, have been crushing it at Sulphur Creek, pulling in massive cleanouts that have kept his season targets on track. But there's a ticking time bomb attached to Sulphur Creek, and it's about to explode. Parker's water mining permit, the legal authorization that allows him to use water for processing gold, is set to expire. And in the Yukon, when your water permit expires, your operation shuts down. Period. No extensions, no negotiations, no second chances. The regulators don't care if you're in the middle of your best gold run of the season. When the permit's up, you shut down the pumps, you drain the sluices, and you walk away. For weeks, Parker has known this deadline was coming. He's been pushing his crew harder than ever, running extended shifts, maximizing every hour of processing time, trying to extract every possible ounce of gold before the clock runs out. Mitch Blaschke, his trusted right-hand man and master mechanic, has been keeping the equipment running at peak performance. Tyson Lee has been managing the crew with an iron fist, making sure nobody slacks off, nobody makes mistakes, and nobody costs them valuable production time. But here's where it gets complicated. As they've been mining deeper into Sulphur Creek, Parker's experienced eye has noticed something. The gold isn't disappearing as they move through the pay dirt, it's getting richer. The concentrations are increasing. All the geological signs point to one undeniable conclusion: they haven't reached the heart of the pay streak yet. The massive payload, the mother lode that could turn a good season into a legendary one, is still buried deeper in the ground. Parker standing at Sulphur Creek, his wash plants roaring in the background, his crew waiting for direction, and his permit deadline hanging over everything like an executioner's blade. He's got two options, and both of them carry massive consequences. Shut down Sulphur Creek operations now, before the permit expires. Take the gold they've already recovered, move all his resources to Dominion Creek, and focus everything on his main operation. It's the smart business decision. It's what any rational mine owner would do. Cut your losses, preserve your legal standing, avoid any potential violations that could jeopardize his entire operation. His lawyers would approve. His accountants would breathe a sigh of relief. His crew could transition smoothly without the chaos of a last-minute shutdown. But Parker Schnabel didn't become one of the most successful young miners in the Yukon by playing it safe. Gamble everything on his instinct that the real gold is still ahead of them. Run the operation right up to the absolute last second before the permit expires, extracting every possible ounce, chasing that massive payload that he knows in his gut is waiting just below the surface. It means driving his crew to exhaustion. It means running his equipment harder than it's ever been run. It means operating with zero margin for error. Because one mechanical breakdown, one processing delay, one mistake, and they'll be scrambling to shut down legally before regulators show up. And then nature throws another curveball into the mix. Forest fires are sweeping through the Yukon Territory. Smoke is filling the air. Fire crews are on high alert. Mining operations across the region are being ordered to evacuate. The Canadian authorities have made it clear, if the fires spread to active mining sites, they will force immediate shutdowns regardless of permits, timelines, or how much gold is still in the ground. So now Parker isn't just racing against his permit deadline. He's racing against forest fires that could shut him down at any moment. He's betting millions of dollars on a geological hunch while literal flames threaten to consume his operation. To understand why this decision is tearing Parker apart, you need to understand how his mind works. Parker Schnabel isn't just a miner, he's a calculated risk-taker who's built his entire career on trusting his instincts when everyone else says to walk away. When he was just 16 years old, Parker took over his grandfather's mining operation. People said he was too young, too inexperienced, too reckless. He proved them all wrong, mining thousands of ounces and making millions before most people graduate college. When he decided to leave his grandfather's claim and strike out on his own, industry veterans said he was making a career-ending mistake. Instead, he became one of the most successful independent miners in the Yukon. Parker's entire mining philosophy is built on one core principle: when you find gold, you mine every last ounce, no matter what it costs. No matter how hard you have to push, no matter how many people tell you you're crazy. It's what separates the legendary miners from the cautious ones who never quite reach their full potential. But this season has been different. Parker's not just mining for himself anymore. He's got a crew of highly skilled workers whose livelihoods depend on his decisions. He's got investors watching his every move. He's got competitors like Tony Beats and Rick Ness who would love nothing more than to see his massive Dominion Creek gamble fail. The pressure isn't just about gold anymore, it's about maintaining his reputation as the best young miner in the game. And there's something else weighing on Parker's mind this season. His relationship with his crew has been more strained than ever. He ordered Tyson to fire Charlie Carlton earlier in the season for being the weakest link. There's been tension between Mitch Blaschke and Tyson Leah, midnight confrontation that exposed cracks in his usually tight-knit team. Some crew members are questioning whether Parker's pushing too hard, taking unnecessary risks, prioritizing gold over the well-being of his workers. So when Parker has to decide whether to push Sulphur Creek to the absolute limit, he knows he's not just making a mining decision. He's making a leadership decision that will define how his crew sees him, how the industry perceives him, and ultimately, whether his reputation as a mining genius is justified or just the result of youthful recklessness. As episode 10 unfolds, we see the mounting pressure from every angle. The wash plants at Sulphur Creek are running at maximum capacity. Mitch is practically living underneath the equipment, performing maintenance on the fly, fixing problems before they become catastrophic breakdowns. Every hour of downtime could mean the difference between reaching that deep payload and shutting down empty-handed. Tyson Lee is managing the crew with military precision, coordinating equipment movements, optimizing the processing flow, making sure every shovel of dirt runs through the sluices at peak efficiency. But even Tyson, who's proven himself as a capable foreman this season, is starting to show signs of strain. You can see it in his face during the crew meetings, the weight of knowing that one wrong call could derail everything. The weather isn't cooperating. Smoke from the forest fires is getting thicker. Air quality is declining. The crew is working in conditions that are borderline unsafe, wearing masks, taking shortened shifts to avoid smoke inhalation. But nobody wants to be the one to tell Parker they need to slow down. Because everyone knows what Parker's thinking. Slow down now, and that gold stays in the ground forever. Meanwhile, at Dominion Creek, Parker's other operations are demanding his attention. Kevin Beats owes him $130,000 from an equipment loan, and Parker needs that money back to fund his expansion plans. His main wash plants at Dominion need oversight to ensure they're hitting their targets. He can't afford to neglect his primary operation just because he's obsessed with Sulphur Creek. Parker is quite literally being pulled in multiple directions, managing a multi-million-dollar mining empire while trying to make a split-second decision about whether to gamble everything on one final push at Sulphur Creek. Parker gathers his core team, Mitch, Tyson, and his senior operators. The conversation is tense. Mitch lays out the mechanical reality. They can keep pushing, but they're running the equipment so hard that a major breakdown is increasingly likely. If they blow a hydraulic line, crack a bearing, or burn out a motor, it could take hours or even days to repair. And they don't have hours. Tyson presents the crew situation. Everyone's exhausted. They've been running extended shifts for weeks. Fatigue leads to mistakes, and mistakes in gold mining can be catastrophic, both in terms of lost gold and potential injuries. He's the foreman, and his job is to keep the crew safe. Pushing them beyond their limits is a leadership failure. Regardless of how much gold is at stake. The camera captures Parker's face as he processes all this information. You can see the internal battle playing out. Every fiber of his mining instinct is screaming at him to push forward. His grandfather taught him that you mine the gold while you can, because you never know when the ground will play out or circumstances will shut you down. But he's also matured enough to know that reckless decisions can destroy what took years to build. And then, Parker makes the call. He's going for it. Full send. They're pushing Sulphur Creek to the absolute brink, mining every possible moment until the permit forces them to shut down. But this is crucial, he's not doing it blindly. Parker lays out a detailed plan. They'll bring in fresh crew members from Dominion Creek to rotate shifts, preventing dangerous fatigue. Mitch will have authorization to spend whatever it takes on emergency parts and backup equipment. Tyson will have full authority to shut down immediately if safety conditions become unacceptable. It's a masterclass in calculated risk-taking. Parker isn't being reckless, he's being aggressive. There's a difference. Reckless would be ignoring all the warning signs and charging forward regardless of consequences. Aggressive is acknowledging every risk, putting mitigation strategies in place, and then committing fully to the decision. The crew's reaction is mixed. Some of them think Parker's finally lost his mind, chasing gold like a fever dream while smoke fills the air and the clock ticks down. Others respect the decisiveness, At least they know where they stand and what they're fighting for. Nobody can accuse Parker Schnabel of being indecisive or weak-willed. As the team mobilizes for the final push, there's an electricity in the air. Everyone knows they're part of something significant. This isn't just another day of mining. This is the kind of high-stakes gamble that becomes legend, the story old miners tell around campfires about the time Parker Schnabel bet everything on one final push at Sulphur Creek. The final days before the permit expiration are pure chaos. Equipment is running 24 hours a day. Crew members are working in rotation, grabbing sleep in shifts, fueled by coffee and the shared adrenaline of chasing something extraordinary. Mitch is constantly troubleshooting mechanical issues, his expertise keeping the operation alive when lesser mechanics would have given up. The geological evidence starts proving Parker right. As they dig deeper into the cut, the gold concentrations are increasing dramatically. Every cleanup is bigger than the last. The pay streak isn't playing out, it's expanding. Parker's instinct was spot on. The mother lode was exactly where he thought it would be. But the clock is still ticking. Forest fire smoke is getting thicker. Emergency services are monitoring the situation closely. There's a real possibility they'll be ordered to evacuate before the permit even expires. Parker is monitoring fire reports constantly, calculating whether they have hours or days before an evacuation order comes through. Tyson is pushing the crew hard, but watching for signs of dangerous fatigue. There's a moment where one of the operators nearly makes a critical error, and Tyson immediately pulls him off the equipment for mandatory rest. It's the kind of leadership decision that Parker empowered him to make, and it potentially saves them from a catastrophic accident. The tension builds with every passing hour. They're so close to the deadline. The gold is flowing better than it has all season. Equipment is holding together, but just barely. The crew is exhausted but determined. Everything is converging toward one final massive cleanup before the shutdown. And then comes the moment of truth. The final cleanup at Sulphur Creek before the permit expires. The entire crew gathers around as Mitch oversees the gold collection process. Parker stands watching, his face unreadable. As they collect and weigh the gold from that final push, the numbers start coming in. 272 ounces from Slucifer. 96 ounces from Bob. Combined, it's over 368 ounces in the final cleanup, alone worth over $1,300,000 at current gold prices. But more than that, the cumulative gold from the extended Sulphur Creek operation. The gold they would have left in the ground if Parker had played it safe. Totals over 600 additional ounces. At $3,800 per ounce. That's nearly $2.3 million in gold. That only exists because Parker Schnabel made the toughest call of his career and pushed when every reasonable voice was telling him to pull back. The crew's reaction is a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. They did it. They actually pulled it off. Despite the forest fires, despite the mechanical challenges, despite the crushing deadline pressure, they mined the gold. Mitch is grinning despite being covered in grease and operating on minimal sleep. Tyson looks like he aged 5 years in 3 weeks, but there's pride in his eyes. The crew members who doubted Parker's decision are now celebrating the biggest cleanup of the season. Parker himself remains characteristically understated. There's no wild celebration, no victory lap. Just a quiet nod of acknowledgement that they executed the plan and it worked. But if you look closely, you can see the relief in his eyes. This wasn't just about the gold. It was about proving that his instincts are still sharp. That his decision-making under pressure is sound. That he's earned his reputation as one of the best miners in the game. So that's the story of Parker Schnabel's toughest decision in Season 16, Episode 10. But here's what I want to know. Do you think Parker made the right call? Would you have pushed Sulphur Creek to the limit? Or would you have played it safe and shut down early? And more importantly, Do you think Parker's aggressive mining strategy is sustainable, or is he heading for a catastrophic fall? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you're Team Parker, or if you think he's finally gone too far. And if you want more deep dives into Gold Rush episodes, behind-the-scenes mining analysis, and breakdowns of the biggest decisions these miners face, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because if Season 16 has taught us anything, it's that the biggest gold discoveries happen when miners are willing to make the toughest calls. And Parker Schnabel just proved he's still got what it takes to make them. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one, where we break down what happens when Parker's massive Dominion Creek gamble either pays off big time or becomes the most expensive mistake of his career. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.